Hello and welcome. I'm Ken, and my goal is to unite different YouTube niches into one channel in hopes to inspire you to learn something new. So you might be a fat fuck. It's really time to change that. In today's video, I'm going to give you a blueprint on how to do so with the help of scientific research-backed information. Today, we're going to be looking at a narrative review, No Time to Lift, Designing Time-Efficient Training Programs for Strength and Hypertrophy. This is an article by Iverson et al., published in 2021. So quick background of me. I taught at the collegiate level for 2 years, and I have personal training experience for over 5 years. I have my master's in kinesiology with an emphasis in exercise physiology, so I do know what I'm talking about. When it comes to the information or lack thereof in today's world, there is such a bias towards clout and pushing information, even if it's misinformation. Really what I want to do here for this community is cultivate scientific-backed research when it comes to our videos on Mondays here, which are fitness videos on Mondays. So let's get into it. When we think about training paradigms or training, we think it's such a monotonous thing and we gotta slave hours and hours in the gym to elicit a response, a physiological response. You either want to lose fat or you want to build some muscle. That's what I'm assuming most of us are doing in your commercial gym. When it comes to allocating time to your program, especially starting off, you want the best bang for buck possible. You want the best ROI that you are putting into the gym. The thing is you don't necessarily need to train in the gym. And what this narrative review is hoping to provide to us is a good blueprint on what we need to do in order to see results. So this is the bare minimum. If you're not doing this, you're most likely not going to see any physiological change outside of your diet and sleep. So let's highlight one sentence here in this abstract, and then we'll talk about it. When programming strength training for optimum time efficiency, we recommend prioritizing bilateral, multi-joint exercises that include full dynamic movements, and to perform a minimum of one leg press exercise, one upper body pulling exercise, and one upper body pushing exercise. So what is bilateral? Bilateral is meaning both sides at the same time. Multi-joint is exactly what you think it means. It's saying whatever exercise you choose, ideally, it's multiple muscle groups that are working at the same time because you're using more than one joint action. And they want this program to be fairly balanced. I am curious as to why they don't want a pulling exercise. They just want one leg pressing exercise, but that's neither here nor there. All right, next one. Exercises can be performed with machines or free weights based on training goals, availability, and preferences. So it's really interesting. We think that when it comes to pushing the envelope for growth, muscle growth, fat loss, we need to be pushing free weights like heavy weights, iron. But in reality, we see in the literature, we see very good, results with resistance bands, body weight exercises, literally anything that gives your body tension. Our body responds to tension as a sort of stimulus. And there is a little bit of variance when it comes to, am I doing bicep curls with weight versus am I doing bicep curls with resistance bands? So long as you're providing enough time under tension for your muscles, your body's going to signal an anabolic and catabolic response. Pretty much fancy way to say, hey, there's something going on in the body, we need to grow. That's what we're doing with exercise. Next up, they are going to be talking about weekly training volume is more important than training frequency, And we recommend performing a minimum of 4 weekly sets per muscle group using a 6 to 15 repetition maximum loading range. 15 to 40 repetitions can be used if training is performed to volitional failure. So in the week, 4 sets per muscle group that you want to see change. Okay? You could do 1 set on a Monday, 1 set on a Tuesday, 1 set on a Thursday, 1 set on Friday. That's 4 sets. Or you could literally knock out all 4 sets in one day if you wanted. Again, this is a training minimum, all right, with a repetition range that's recommended anywhere from 6 to 15 with weight, or 15 to 40 to failure. The thing with the research is they're going to give you, and you're going to get ranges from a lot of different people here, is some bodies might say that one range is good versus the other. But the thing is, if you're not going to your limit or even trying to hit your limit, your body will not grow as fast if you were to keep 4 reps in the tank. Granted, the amount of work being done is normalized, is equal. Does that make sense? So 4 sets of 12 is not the same as 4 sets of 12 if one is of an easier volition versus one that's a little bit more arduous. Which one do you think is going to see more growth? Most likely the one that's harder, so long as you're not injuring yourself and you're pushing yourself within your own means. So rep ranges are good and all, but ultimately what it comes down to is consistency. How often are you doing it, and are you keeping up with it in conjunction with your diet or lack thereof? And then finally we advise warm up is cool, stretching is cool. Brilliant. Here's some quick key points that I invite you to pause and read up on. But I do actually want to touch on supersets, drop sets, and rest pause training, more so supersets. So let's say you are crunched for time, and or you're just lazy. You see those people in the gym that just like go on their phone for like 1, 2, even 5 minutes, and then they hit their next set. Well, you can't really question their training because you don't know what they're training for. But if you want to kick ass in the gym or at home, I invite you to superset your training regimen. If you don't know what supersetting is, there's a bunch of information on YouTube or on Google Scholar or on PubMed, anywhere, if you look up this terminology. Supersetting is the act of doing one exercise immediately followed by another. In certain schools of thought, the superset is one exercise followed by another exercise that's of a different muscle group. Why do you think that is? Let me know it down in the comments. Give you some time to think. But what we theorize or know is if you do 2 exercises at the same time, or not the same time, if you do 2 exercises in conjunction that hit the same muscle group, you're going to prematurely fatigue your muscle fibers, which most likely will lead to a decrease in performance for your next following superset. That's why they recommend different schools of exercise bodies that say let's say you do your push-ups, more than likely you probably shouldn't do bench press, you should do pull-ups instead. We're kind of nitpicking here because while there is a very right way and a very wrong way to train in the school of thought of exercise, as long as you're doing it safely with a good school of thought and purpose without injury, I think we're on the good page. I think we're okay. Anyways, do these supersets and you will literally cut your training time in half. You're not resting in between sets. You are literally going from exercise to exercise, preferably followed with a rest period. period. So here is a very simple exercise prescription for you at home. Is push-ups followed by pull-ups or a pull exercise like a banded row and some squats. Air squats, jump squats, whatever you want. If you are confused in banded exercises, you can take one of these bands, attach it to the door with a fiber and you close that hinge, and then you pull. And that provides you an anchor to do your pulling exercises if you don't have a pull-up bar. Or you could stop being such a lazy fuck and go to the park and do some pull-ups at your local gym, public gym. There's that too. Yeah, this video just really wanted to illustrate that here are the minimum repetitions you should do, 6 to 15, or the recommended repetition range you should do, and the minimum sets per week per muscle group you should do. Okay? You want to bump this up? Please do so, but remember that your adaptation is going to be vastly different from another person's, and over time, you'll start to create your exercise program on your own, or you reach out to me. I'll help you out. Just let me know down in the comments. And yeah, cool. I think that's pretty much it for this article. Again, if you want to do more research, type in "no time to lift," designing time into PubMed. PubMed is absolutely free. Just make sure that when you are searching results, you go to, I should have probably changed the thing here. Click on free full text. If you don't want to just get abstracts, make sure you click on this and you'll be golden. Here's some research knowledge for you. When you want to type in something, you type in whatever you want, and then you type in and then you type in whatever you want, and you type in and. Does that make sense? Instead of just typing hypertrophy, bench press, and exercise. It's just a very easy way to go about siphoning through the knowledge. For more questions, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, let me know down in the comments. I would love to help you out in designing your first training program, because we all know that you aren't training as hard as you should, and what better place to start than down in a random person's comment section. As always, here's an invitation to subscribe, and I'll see you again very soon.